Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Physical Tiny Room. Welcome back for the last time this year to the Physical Tiny Room. I am the co-host of Michael and Benjamin's podcast. I am the one in the title who is first chronologically, but not alphabetically. I'm Michael. And I am joined by the man who has been called the Major Tom of Irish podcasting. The Uncle Tom of... the Major Tom. The Major Tom of Irish podcasting. It's Benjamin. Say hello, Benjamin.
Hello, Benjamin.
Very good.
I thought we'd do it for posterity on the final episode of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Major Tom is okay. I'm okay with that comparison.
We had a little sing-song, Ben, in the tiny room before we started.
Yes, because it is sometimes feels like we are sitting in a tin can.
Yeah, and Ben, we do not harmonise well.
We don't. There's a grating disharmony.
Look, you know what we might do? We might do a little version of it at the end of the podcast.
Well, we'll see how that goes, Michael.
For anyone who makes it.
We'll see how liquored up and how boozed up I am to make sure that's
Ben.
possible.
Ben, it's a special episode today.
Is it?
It's the second annual Mickey's.
The second annual Mickey's.
Do we have to do the normal theme music now, or is that will that do it?
Yeah, fair enough.
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music, but I hope someone will make some up for us. I don't wanna name any names. Rachel, I hope it's Rachel.
Bloody hell. Okay, Ben, before we get to the Mickeys, there's some news.
News? Michael, it almost seems pertinent that we as a pop culture podcast should cover that news.
Yeah, well, let's do it then.
Okay, fair enough.
There were two big trailers this week, Ben.
There were.
I've written Hellboy down here, and then I've looked at it, and I thought, that looks wrong. That's not what he's called, but that is what he's called.
No, that is what he's called. That's his actual name.
Yeah,
Hellboy.
I looked at it, and it looks like something that I've written as a joke. Or, you know, the new internet meme of a something boy.
Yeah, good boy.
Or a Lego brick would be a bricky boy.
We have tofu boys as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Vegan boys for weaker men.
Yeah.
I think they're often called soy boys. Sorry, soy boys is what they're called.
And do you think that Hellboy is a soy boy?
The new iteration may be soy boy-ish, I'm not sure. To catch listeners up, there have been two Hellboy movies. I'm sure you've heard this before, but if you're new to the podcast, you should probably know there have been two Hellboy movies previously. They were directed by Guillermo del Toro. They starred Ron Perlman as the titular character. Uh-huh. He talks down here and he's just usually kind of grim. That's a very bad Ron Perlman impression. It's very hard to get his voice. It's very deep. There has been a little bit of fan backlash because many people associate Ron Perlman and Guillermo del Toro as the definitive director-actor duo to bring Hellboy to life. And unfortunately, there are two new people taking on the role.
Everybody hates new people.
The fan communities hate new people, but the new actor playing it is David Harbman from Stranger Things.
David Harbour.
Harbour, sorry, got that completely wrong. David Harbour from Stranger Things. And the trailer dropped this week, Michael.
And Ben is quite different tonally from what people were expecting.
Yes, we were promised something a little bit darker. I think one of the major criticisms of Guillermo del Toro. One of the major criticisms of his work was that it was very light. It possessed a great deal of levity.
A fluffy piece.
A fluffy piece. There was comedic undertones. There was a big love story, which isn't traditional in the Hellboy comics. Mm-hmm. And I think in order to spare themselves and mark themselves out as utterly different, the new cast and crew promised that they would deliver a darker, kind of more mythic... Michael just punched me straight in the nose, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm going to talk like this for the rest of the podcast.
Sorry, Ben.
He was trying to fix my microphone because there's something wrong with my microphone.
I fixed it now, it's fine.
It's fixed now. Wonderful news. So, they were promised a darker tone. But this trailer... doesn't seem to have much of a darker tone, Michael.
No, it's quite strange, isn't it? It's on.
To begin with, whoever picked the soundtrack to go with that trailer should be shot.
Right.
Several times over. Very 80s.
Right.
Very 80s. It would seem that Hellboy is to be set in the 80s by the looks of everything.
Is it?
It looks very 80s. To me, Michael.
What else was set in the 80s recently?
Everything.
Stranger
Michael,
Things.
Thor Ragnarok was
Kind
very
of.
80s in its
Yeah,
own
you're
way.
right, you're right.
The 80s are back. The 80s are where the 70s were 10 years ago, because we're just recycling decades now, and the 80s are where we're currently at. The 90s are next. We've already started with the 90s kind of nostalgia movies of what it was to grow up in the 90s.
Captain Marvel.
It's going to be a disaster once we get to the 2000s, because it's a cultural graveyard bereft of anything of use.
People would have said that about the 80s and 90s, though.
Really?
Before, yeah. This is just normal, Ben. This is just a cycle.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I'm part of the old fogey crew now.
Yeah, exactly. It'll come back around and bite you. Don't worry about it. Ben, I wasn't bowled over by the trailer, I have to admit.
No, it looks a bit meh.
Yeah.
It looks a bit meh. The makeup seems worse.
It does, doesn't it?
It seems like a cheap Halloween mask.
It's
Or not a high-end Halloween mask, but it's still a Halloween mask.
Yeah, well, I think it's that David Harbour has a less distinctive face than Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman looks like a Mike Mignola drawing.
He does. That's excellent call there, Michael.
Thanks.
That's a great call.
So it might be a casting issue. I wasn't bowled over by David Harbour as Hellboy.
He seems awfully short.
I don't know. There was something about it, something about the tone of voice or something. He was playing it quite straight.
Yeah, but also, I don't know. There were a couple of jokes that I just missed, like the silly one with the old lady. I'm going to need to see some ID, love.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. And then I'm on your side.
Yeah.
When the officer shoots at him.
I mean, we saw that in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
When they accidentally shot Quicksilver.
I'm not. There was no accident there.
No, the guy, the police shoot him.
Yeah.
And he looks all sad.
Yeah.
Then he gets killed.
But anyway, it's interesting from a... Let's not shit on it, Michael.
Right.
As we've witnessed all through 2018, trailers are a pack of lies.
Trailers are a pack of lies.
Trailers are a pack of lies.
That's what we should have called this podcast.
A pack of lies.
Yeah.
One of the important things that we have to kind of look at here is Hellboy is still not a major league character. He's not a big draw for outside audiences that wouldn't be used to comic books. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're packaging him in like a light comedic tone, so people come to see a light comedy, and then wham!
Also, Mila Jovovich as the villain. She's not a huge box office draw. She's big in the genre.
Maybe they're banking on some genre cash.
Should be some genre fans with her.
It's interesting to see, while I was breaking it down, I was looking at the different things that might reflect it from the comics. There are quite a few things. They're going to use the end arc with Hellboy being descended from King Arthur, by the looks of things.
King Arthur's really back, isn't he?
There's a new child blockbuster with kids in it called The Kid Who Would Be King.
Yeah, the boy who would...
No, I think it's The Kid Who Would Be King, because boy would be too on the nose, because it's an actual novel.
It is interesting. And then Aquaman was essentially a King Arthur film. And then we had the King Arthur film.
Yeah, and we just shit on King Arthur.
I know.
Come on,
we
guys.
did a whole episode about how boring it was.
But they're going to follow that. The Blood Queen is the final villain that Hellboy faces in his lifetime. So it's not a full reboot. He seems to have been going for a while. They're hinting at the fact that he's been trained throughout his life to be kind of...
You think it's going to be like Marvel's Incredible Hulk?
I think, it's going to be an in medias res kind of gig where they just dump us in the middle.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely necessary. We had 2 movies of Hellboy finding his feet that I wasn't into.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga's in there, the house with the chicken on his legs. Not John Wick Baba Yaga.
Oh.
It's...
Ant-Man and the Wasp Baba Yaga.
Nope, it's Slavic Baba Yaga.
No, classic Baba Yaga.
The house on chicken legs is there. You can see him falling from it at one point.
I collected Monster in my pocket.
It's for the listeners.
Oh, the listeners.
For the listeners. Don't
Fucking
forget we do this for other people.
No,
Wild
we
Hunt.
don't.
No, we do this for us. That's actually the greatest pack of lies that we told anyone. Wow. Also, the Blood Queen is there, and the Wild Hunt is there, which came in towards the end. Yeah,
the Wild Hunt, not from The Witcher.
No, it's from everything, Michael. None of these things usually have an original mythic concept. They borrow from real life and expand on that.
Benjamin, speaking of not having an original concept, did you see the trailer for Men in Black International?
Here come the Men in Black in an Australian accent. An Australian hiding behind a British accent?
I don't know what he's doing. He's just doing a Chris Hemsworth now.
I'm okay with that. I love Chris.
You know what?
I'm soft on Chris.
He's a very handsome man. Much less handsome without a beard, though.
Has a lot of charisma, though.
Still handsome.
Got a lot of oomph.
Yeah.
Boy's got a lot. And he's reunited with Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
From Thor Ragnarok.
From Thor Ragnarok.
Apparently they're good buddies.
In real life.
Good buds.
Ben, talking to the microphone. You're talking past the microphone to me.
Good buzz.
Apparently they're good old friends.
Apparently they're top friends. Sorry about that, listeners. I'm terrible at this after a year and a bit. Just have not found my feet. Just have not found my feet at this particular gig. It looks like that we're going to have a good old Men in Black expand. Nobody wanted it. Nobody asked for it.
Number 3 wasn't wonderful.
I think this is it going to be Ghostbusters Ocean's 11 territory?
There's already a surprising amount of backlash about we didn't want a woman. We didn't want,
Tessa Thompson is great.
Yeah.
She's really great at whatever she does.
Yeah.
She's a fun character in whatever we get to see her in.
I didn't like her in Creed.
Oh, really?
She was a bit of a squib.
Oh, yeah, a damp squib, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I didn't see her in Creed 2. I saw Creed 1.
Yeah, did you enjoy her character in that?
She seems to be there mostly to replicate the Adrian arc.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit. Just to have a little bit more emotional investment. I can't even remember her name.
Samantha?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know if I care. There's a lot of in-jokes. And I think they keep talking about the red button in the car, and there's supposed to be a red button here somewhere, and then, tiny weapons with a big punch and stuff like that. I don't think the original trilogy had that much. Does it have that much of a following? Am I completely wrong here?
No, it is popular.
Do in-jokes carry?
I think people, maybe the movie won't be as in-jokey as the trailer.
Yeah. I happened to rewatch them, not very recently, but in the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
They're very low budget.
Well, they're not that low budget.
No, but they seem low budget.
The early days of CGI and animatronic.
But even
crossover.
Men in Black 3.
Men in Black 3 wasn't a good film.
It was a terrible film.
Josh Brolin was pretty good.
Josh Brolin was great, but Josh Brolin's great in everything. He's a Tessa Thompson. Except in Creed. He wasn't great in Creed.
No, he wasn't great in Creed as Creed's mother's girlfriend. Samantha,
who had a sex change operation.
Look, I'm telling you, it's one of these no one asked for things, and I'm worried about Chris Hemsworth continually showing up in things that no one asked for.
Yeah, because it's the second one. He was in Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters too. He might be the kiss of death for non-superhero stuff.
Oh dear!
Although he was in El Royale and very well received.
El Royale was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed that film.
Anyway, Ben.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Go on.
We read a comic book this week.
A comic book, eh?
Not together. We read the same comic book. We didn't read it together. On the couch. With a hot of chocolate.
No, we would never snuggle up and do something like that as best podcast bros.
That'd be weird. Claus.
That was that was a nice awkward pause to really say it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Pack of Lies, the podcast where we just lie through our teeth.
I don't think I have Claus here.
We went to see, we didn't go to see, sorry, we read in separate rooms, in separate locations, at separate times, Claus by Grant Morrison and Dan Mora.
Now, Ben,
yeah,
you have informed me, and you are somewhat reliable, but not 100%.
Not 100%. Ben's Retractions is a frequently recurring section on this podcast.
You have informed me that this is, in fact, a continuing series. I thought it was a one and done.
The one that you picked up is a one and done.
Right.
But the initial run was 7 issues long.
7 issues?
7 issues long. Grant Morrison was his take on the legend of Santa Claus. Suitably ridiculous.
Yes, but it's great though.
It's wonderful. Dan Mora, I think, should be largely credited with making it as good a comic book as it is. Such art. Much cleanness.
I was just look, we're both stuck on the whole movie vocabulary.
It's the end of the year, Michael.
I was reading it, Ben, and there's a lot of Thor in it, obviously.
The stacks of Thor.
It's very Thor. But I was reading it thinking this would be great if this artist did Thor.
He should. Dan Mora should do many things. I became familiar with Dan Mora when he did a series of kind of very clean prints of 90s TV shows.
Oh.
For example, a Batman animated series.
Okay.
A Spider-Man 2099. A Batman Beyond. He kind of made his...
That didn't get funny until the third one, but then you committed to it enough that it was funny.
Good old Ben barrel it through, Colby. Yeah, he has kind of made... He certainly got his name out there from a design point of view by going back and cleaning up these old 80s, 90s cartoon designs and making them super slick. He's got a beautiful style that doesn't really rely on lines so much as it does on just very clean shapes and colours.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, it's very nice.
It's very nice, and a nice little story as well.
He's got a great movement as well. He moves the characters very nicely in how he draws them. I'm a fan.
I was a big fan of the issue, Ben. It's very good. I don't know how much it cost. It was probably extra because it felt longer than a normal comic.
More than likely cost a little bit more.
But not quite a graphic novel.
I will be honest, the first run was very entertaining. What happens in this one?
Santa Claus...
I'm trying to remember which one I'm
Santa
on.
Claus he's teaming up with Father Frost.
Oh, yes.
Jack Frost and the Christmas goat to stop the evil gods who caused Ragnarok.
Ah, yeah. Classic.
Yeah.
Classic. Good stuff. He did kind of stray from the original story. The original story was one man versus a town that forgot the spirit of Yuletide, I suppose. Is that
what it was? Okay.
But the Krampus is the main villain in the original run.
Is this worth tracking down, Ben?
Oh, it's a 7-issue frolic.
It's a slobber knocker.
Oh, it's great stuff. Thoroughly recommended. But it's a fun pre-Christmas thing to read.
Ben, I'm asking you this knowing that you don't know, but has it been collected into a trade paperback format that I could pick up?
I would imagine more than likely.
Huh. Well, I'm going to do that then.
That was very Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Okay then.
Well, I'll just do that.
Looks like Daddy's getting himself a comic book run.
Yeah, so get that. Benjamin.
Yes.
I've seen a film.
A film?
Yes. Last night I saw a film. As I recall, it was a horror film.
Ah.
I went outside into the rain. I checked my phone and saw you rang, and I jizzed in my pants.
Very nice.
That's a throwback there to 2008.
Well played. That's a long throwback.
No, I saw a film, Ben. It's a new film on the Netflix.
On the Netflix?
With a Sandra Bullock in it.
Ah.
Called Birdbox. Subtitle: A Quiet Place but with Eyes.
Oh.
Because, obviously...
Because you have to stay blind.
You have to stay blind instead of stay quiet.
The colour grading is very similar between those two films. The tone and colour grading, from an aesthetic point of view, incredibly similar.
And that's a lie.
Oh.
You're not lying. The trailer lies.
Ah.
The trailer very much looks like it was inspired by the reception of A Quiet Place.
Okay.
I've been calling this film A Blind Place.
Fair enough. We shall continue to call it that in typical podcast tradition.
Because it looks like it's very much going to be a single mother's harrowing journey with her 2 children to try and get somewhere safe when she can't see.
Oh no.
Right? Mm. It's not about that really. That is almost a side story. And what it actually turns out to be is a very, very, very bog standard post-apocalyptic people trapped in a house.
Boo.
Yeah, it's really a bit of a lie.
Would you almost say it's a pack of lies?
It's almost a pack of lies. It's very disappointing. A stellar cast, though.
Sandra
Bullock.
Mr.
John Malkovich.
Yeah, John Malkovich.
Malkovich.
Do you know, I found out why he speaks in that very pronounced way.
Because he's a famous weirdo.
No. He was deaf for the first couple of years of his life.
Was he?
He was deaf for a very long time, and then he had an operation that restored his hearing. The reason he enunciates so clearly is because he's getting used to speaking. And it stuck as an affectation. But he was deaf for a very long time and learned to speak very late in his life.
Malkovich.
So now you speak like this, you understand?
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Malkovich is in it. There's a bit of stunt casting.
Class.
Sarah Paulson is in it.
That was I actually don't find Sarah Paulson attractive.
You've just nominated yourself for Bad Egg of the Year there.
She's oddly popular for no reason.
She's a good enough actor, though, let's be honest.
Is she?
Yeah, she's pretty good.
Okay. She's also in Glass, the upcoming movie Glass.
She was also in
American Horror Story.
Yes, and she was also in Jack and Jill.
Interestingly, because it seems to be the format of the podcast today where I give you a little bit of tidbit information along with everything you give me.
Go on.
She is dating the old lady from American Horror Story.
Yeah. She's a lesbian lady who's going out with an older lesbian lady.
Yep. Cougared up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good for her.
Ben, the whole thing is there are aliens or monsters or demons.
And we never
see them.
I hate that.
And because the idea is if you see them, you instantly commit suicide.
Oh.
Because they drive you so crazy.
Oh my.
Now, here's the sad thing about the film. Spoilers here.
Okay. Spoiler. Okay, go ahead. I won't watch it.
In the first 10 minutes, Sarah Paulson dies. And when Sarah Paulson sees whatever it is that you see, she's such an actor that she looks at it and goes, what the fuck is that? And then she does a suicide.
Nice.
And it's so compelling. And you're thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Everyone else in the movie who sees it isn't a Sarah Paulson level actor.
Oh dear.
So they just kind of see it, and then their eyes change a little bit, possibly with a bit of CGI help.
Class.
And then they do a suicide very, very similar to Marky Mark's film The Happening by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh. Is this directed by... I did get strong Shyamalan vibes.
Well, the whole time I was thinking, what's the twist going to be? And there is a twist. There is a twist, but the twist isn't very exciting. But
Can we have one more spoilers round?
Go on.
You can spoil it for me. I don't.
Oh no, the twist is there's not really a twist. The place that they're going to meet, the place, the saving place at the end is a school for the blind. That's where they.
So it's like every season of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
We're safe now. What? No.
But once Sarah Paulson dies, no one else recreates that. When Sarah Paulson is killed, it really seems like whatever you see is so horrific that you can't think of anything to do other than commit suicide.
Right.
Which is a terrifying concept.
Right.
But Sarah Paulson, when she dies, it seems like her choice.
Yeah, because she couldn't face the other...
Whatever it was she saw.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you can't show that on television. Because that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's impossible
It's an impossible human concept.
Yeah. Which is why it's so creepy and terrifying. And if the rest of it was like that, you'd be like...
Cosmic horror?
In a sense,
Look at you with a little Paulson crush.
So anyway, no, I find Sarah Paulson a bit annoying. Yeah. No, it's not whether she's attractive or not. She's attractive. She's an attractive woman. I find her a bit annoying. She's very very positive in interviews.
Oh no.
Anyway, let me finish what I'm saying.
Sorry.
Everyone else who dies, they see a thing and it seems to compel them to commit suicide.
So we change the tone of the beast.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it might be something about the nature of the thing that makes, rather than you decide to commit suicide.
It would be much cooler to do it the other way around.
Right. And it doesn't separate itself enough from The Happening then. And as you know, Ben, The Happening was a bag of Mickeys.
It was not the good Mickeys, though. The bad Mickeys. This is the good Mickeys, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of, Michael.
Yeah.
Speaking of the good Mickeys. Should we probably get started?
Yes, we will. Ben, in Hollywood, they have the Oscars.
They do.
Well, no, they have the Academy Awards.
They also have those.
They have the Academy Awards. And when you win an Academy Award, what you receive is a little statue called the Oscar. Mm-hmm. In Michael and Benjamin's podcast, we have our annual Michael and Benjamin's Podcast Awards, and the winner of the award gets the Mickey.
Yeah, they get the... Oh no.
No, we made
I've just realised.
We made the same joke last year. Yeah, it's a bit of an old joke.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So look...
we do a weekly episode, though, Michael. It's hard for me to keep track of the jokes.
I had to listen to last year's episode to figure out what we did last year.
I'm so sorry.
Trying.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know why anyone listens to this nonsense.
Ben. To be fair, if Hannah is listening to this now, please make sure you stay with the new episodes and do not go back to the start of our run. To any new listeners, you never have to go back to our earliest episodes. You can just listen to the newer stuff. The sound quality is better.
Yeah.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
Just go to the later episodes.
Don't listen to you.
Hannah is a friend of mine who listens to it, but she went all the way back to the start.
Hi, Hannah.
And I was like,
don't do that. No, don't do that. Ben, you're going to get some hollow sounding episodes there. Both like in terms of audio quality and just things that we had to say.
Because we were uncomfortable with each other at that point in our careers.
It was a bit weird. So Ben, as per tradition, we're going to have a few categories. And then the Mickey's, Ben, is our awards, but also our review of the year.
Yeah, it's a year in review.
So, like every other podcast in the world, we're doing a year in review, and then we're taking 2 weeks off.
Yep. Woo! That was a very silent, podcast-friendly high five. So, Ben,
as per protocol, as per tradition, we'll start with slipping the Mickey for TV show of the year.
Oh, God. For me, in terms of a superhero...
Don't just bloody say your best one straight away.
Okay.
Have you no understanding of tension?
I'm sorry. There have been a few. Are we doing brand new shows? Or
No.
we can do entries. Okay. in that case, season 3 of Daredevil gets an honourable mention in my world.
Right.
The Good Place, which is a comedy, was in season 3. It gets my vote.
Shirton, son of a birch.
Yeah, exactly, because you can't curse in The Good Place. Yeah. Good man, Michael. I didn't know what you were doing there for half a second.
I didn't know either. I can't remember what did they say. It's not. What is it? Oh, shirt is shit, right?
Yeah, shirt.
And what did they say for bitch?
No, it's birch. I think you're absolutely right.
And anyway, it doesn't matter. Go on.
I would like to give Titans a very solid nod from moi.
I bet you would.
Settle down, Michael. But all very, very good entries there, Michael. I don't really have.
Well, here, Ben, I'll throw some more.
You throw some more at me because I couldn't think of as many. You were the TV guy on the podcast, Michael.
Sabrina has a new series this year.
Great entry into the Netflix.
I didn't like it.
Okay, I thought you did. My mistake.
No, I didn't, Ben. I don't like things that tend to wear their politics on their sleeve too much.
They do. It is very Me Too-y.
It is very political. It sees the world through one very specific lens.
The Handmaid's Tale, to be precise.
I found The Handmaid's Tale less annoying because at least The Handmaid's Tale was a political.
Yeah, you knew what you were getting into.
It's a political point.
Sure.
And whether you agree or disagree with it, and of course, if you don't disagree with what goes on in The Handmaid's Tale, you're a terrible human. But Sabrina, I'm not watching Sabrina for a political commentary. I'm watching it for a witch doing a thing.
If you are watching the CW for political commentary, ladies and gentlemen.
Sabrina's Netflix.
Yes, but it's CW realm in that it shares the same universe as Riverdale.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird crossover thing. It's hard to figure out. If you are watching the CW for your political opinions, stop. Don't do that. That's not good.
Don't do it. It's bad. Yeah.
The reason I gave up on Sabrina was the cat doesn't talk in the new Sabrina, and I can't have that.
Look, I've only seen a couple of episodes, so we're not going to call it number one. Something I did thoroughly enjoy, Ben, but didn't make it all the way through, was The Haunting of Hill House.
Great show.
Very good show.
Hated it because it kept me awake for hours.
Yeah.
Great.
Stunning show.
Great show. Aesthetically, thematically, plottily.
Yeah, very on point.
Solid.
I didn't see any of Westworld Season 2.
Neither did I. I never picked it up again.
Yeah.
I didn't pick it up again instantly because I cannot stand Jonathan Nolan.
I don't know who that is.
He is Christopher Nolan's half-brother. Quite often co-writes Christopher Nolan's movies with him. Is the major writer, the main writer, also known as the head writer of Westworld.
Oh.
And he keeps bitching about fans spoiling his plots. And the simple answer to people spoiling your plots is don't write derivative things that people can figure out so easily.
Make it a better plot, you son of a bitch. Make a better
plot, Jonathan.
Like your brother Christopher.
Christopher writes some great plots for all his flaws. Sometimes they have plot holes, but it's compelling stuff.
Yeah, look, Ben, when you're dealing with fiction, you have to accept plot holes.
Compelling stuff.
All stories would just be two men decide to make a podcast and it's a moderate success.
I wouldn't say we're a moderate success, Michael. I'd say we're a middling to low-ended failure.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Ben, I've only seen a couple of episodes of the new addition to the CW world, Black Lightning.
I have seen quite a few episodes of Black Lightning. Politics on sleeve, so that automatically discredits from your end. Not meant for us.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No. I've said this about Luke Cage before, Michael. There are certain story points or references that are not for someone who isn't from the African American community. And I don't mean that as a white person. I mean that as someone who has never come from an American background, let alone an African American background.
As an Irishman?
As an Irishman, I'm completely outside of the realm of that show.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly solid. One of the most superhero-y CW
well, the
shows.
CW shows are a lot more superhero-y now than when you used to watch them. They're
I'm not
non-stop superheroes.
I'm not going back. I refuse.
No, look, that's fine. Ben, The Gifted is still pretty good.
Okay.
But not spectacular.
Glad to hear it.
Polaris is Polaris now. She has her green hair and her...
Polaris loves a selfie on Instagram.
She's a big fan of the Instagram.
Yeah,
Emma Dumont.
the gram. Yeah.
Did you watch Maniac?
I didn't.
No, neither.
Is it good?
I saw the first episode. It seemed good, but... I
never got around to seeing the whole thing.
Did you watch Alternate Carbonate Season 2?
Is Season 2 out?
Is it?
No, I don't think so.
Is it being made?
It's in the process.
With Anthony Mackie? Cut the check.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, we don't have the original Kovacs.
Right, let's go into the original Kovacs.
Who is the original Kovacs?
Yeah, exactly, huh?
Yeah.
Takeshi Kovacs,
Yeah.
the Japanese guy, I think. Let's talk about some of the Netflix things. Jessica Jones season 2, bit of a drag,
Bit of a damp squib.
Did you watch it?
We never have to. I watched the first couple of episodes.
Yeah,
Gave up.
it was a bit of a drag.
I honestly think, and this is a terrible, terrible, terrible besmirching, but I think David Tennant was essential to that show.
He was, and the episode that he's in of season 2 is great.
It's the strongest episode.
Yeah.
I went and watched that directly rather than watch.
Yeah. Well, look, Ben, we've said it before. It's a villain that makes a show in a lot of cases,
and that was proven right.
Yeah,
we were vindicated.
It was proven right by Daredevil season 3 because it brought back the great Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vanessa. That man butters my biscuits.
Do you want him to, or does he just come around your house and you go down in the morning? And all your biscuits have been
biscuits have been buttered.
Someone buttered my biscuits when I was asleep. Ben, did you watch Legion season 2?
No, never got around to it.
It was pretty good.
Never got around to it. I heard damning things.
Luke Cage season 2?
No. I didn't.
Iron Fist season 2?
No.
Yeah, none of them were very solid, to be honest.
I was not. I was never a fan of Iron Fist, and Luke Cage I found difficult as soon as they got rid of the stellar Cottonmouth villain.
Cottonmouth is great.
It's a villain that makes a show, Michael.
Yeah,
and for me, replacing it... Yeah, sorry, I forgot. For me, replacing it with the, quite frankly, melodramatic sister or cousin was strange.
It was a strange one.
Poor choice.
I'm not saying this was show of the year.
Go on.
But the surprise highlight of the year for me was Cloak and Dagger.
Yes, I have Cloak and Dagger down here.
Cloak and Dagger.
I figured Cloak and Dagger would be your show of the year.
I think Daredevil season 3 was better.
I think Daredevil season 3 wins for me as well. It's a fitting swan song to the character in terms of the Netflix universe.
I'm not too sad to see it wrap up because it wrapped up well.
Charlie Clocks is a close personal friend of Charlie Cox.
I'm Charlie Cox. I'm from England, and I'll look at your watch for you.
I'm here to adjust everything to Greenwich Mean Time.
You've made a slip of the tongue, Ben, but I've gone right at you for it. I think your timing must have been off.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the final episode of Michael and Benjamin's podcast. See you again, never. Charlie Cox is solid AF. It was enjoyable to see Foggy just kind of drift away
be Irish
other things.
with bags of Tato in the background.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was fun stuff. Vincent D'Onofrio, as you said, Bullseye turned out to be quite good.
Yeah,
quite a compelling villain.
Yeah, there he is. There, look.
Oh, look, you have him now.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah,
look at him up there. Wait, where? Ah, that's him in the... Ah, okay.
There's Daredevil there.
Ah, very clever. He comes in a Daredevil suit.
Ben,
yes.
What I would say is, I think The Haunting of Hill House might have been better than Daredevil Season 3, but I didn't see all of it, so I can't really commit to calling it the best show.
It's a tough call. I would say The Haunting of Hill House, in terms of me, was the most surprising show of the year, because I hate horror, as you know, Michael. My stomach churns.
You're very spooked.
I'm like a small... untamed deer.
Easily spooked.
Easily spooked. Even with the promise of a carrot. I'll fuck around.
Is that that's how you would lure a deer if you needed to get
a deer in Phoenix Park? You give a little carrot and they come up and...
Look, Ben, it's about time we talked about this. I would prefer if the tourists in the Phoenix Park stopped feeding the deer.
It's not a good idea.
No.
It's not a good idea.
Don't domesticate wild animals. Having said that, I've been to Nara in Japan, Ben, as you know.
Did you feed some deer, Michael?
I did feed some deer, and it was quite a charming place to visit.
So is Phoenix Park if you're a tourist. Or a fan of dogging.
Or late night assaults.
Don't go to Phoenix Park at night, ladies and gentlemen. And don't feed deer at night with your carrot. That's weird.
No, that is weird.
So Ben, Haunting of Hill House, strong second. Because we're a pop culture podcast first, let's go with the superhero one.
All right.
Daredevil season 3. But Haunting of Hill House, solid number 2. Honorable mentions to Titans and anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
That's pretty much it. Okay, moving on.
Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and Dagger, bloody great. Cloak and Dagger 3, Titans honorable mention.
What Cloak and Dagger lacked was a great villain.
Ah, they needed a bit of oomph.
Yeah.
In terms of the villain. Perhaps they'll bring David Tennant back from the dead.
Yeah. There's always... Did you see Runaways Season 2 has started?
No, I didn't.
Very dull first episode.
I have not cared about Runaways because I don't think it's aimed at my demographic, Michael. I'm too old to watch those shows now.
Anyway.
Go on.
Let's move on, Ben, and do a film of the year.
Oh, a film of the year would be very enjoyable, Michael.
Like a pair of Mark Kermodes.
Yes, I saw that. His blog is now wrapping up. I enjoy Mark Kermode on occasion.
Yeah.
He's oddly snobby yet not snobby. I don't
Ben,
know how he strikes that balance.
There were, to use the technical term, a fucking shitload of films this year.
Metric fuck ton, Michael, here
metric
in Europe.
fuck ton, yes, of films in our department this year.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run through. This is going to be a very engaging segment where I just say the names of films.
Sure.
Here are some films.
Yes.
Into the Spider-Verse. Bumblebee.
Excellent. Yes.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
Oof.
Avengers Infinity War.
Yep.
Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool 2.
Oh, yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Indeed.
Incredibles 2.
Certainly.
Annihilation.
Not wrong.
Venom.
True.
Fantastic Beasts.
Still
and
going.
Where to Find Them 2. The Crimes of Wrinkleworth. Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yup.
Searching wasn't really in our remit, but it was very good. The Predator.
Yes.
Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
It's non-stop.
Yeah.
It's a fucking
It's hard
smorgasbord.
to... It's really hard. It was hard for us to wade through this year. I think every year you hear people complain about superhero saturation and
We did
where
a whole
that's
episode
going.
on it. You weren't here.
We were on peak superhero-dom this time around. Peak superhero. Some of the highlights for me. Ready Player One. No, I did not enjoy Ready Player One. I thought it was too much. It's too big.
It had Hannah John Kamen in it.
Help me out.
From Ant-Man and the Wasp. She played Ghost.
Sorry.
She's from the TV
Yes.
show Killjoys, which
Yes.
is probably my favourite TV show of the year.
Okay, well, we can go back and adjust that suitably in a moment.
No, that's fine.
Moving on from there, what else did we read out there?
We start from earlier in the year.
You go on.
Surprising early candidate for best film, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Great. I watched that recently.
Bloody good.
Isn't it a good film, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah.
Just a great film.
Yeah, no big glaring plot holes, not too convoluted.
Ethan Hunt is compelling
Yeah.
to watch as a character. Tom Cruise does a great job, that guy. The scene where he might have to... Okay, are we doing spoilers?
Oh, by the way, in Birdbox.
Oh.
There's there's a Sophie's Choice moment. And they just go in the end, fuck it, we'll save them both.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's so disappointing.
The whole point of that...
yeah.
There are far better Sophie's choices to be found in Mission Impossible.
Or the film Sophie's Choice.
Or the film Sophie's Choice. Whoa. Great villain.
In Sophie's Choice.
No.
Mission Impossible.
The villain in Sophie's Choice is society. Yeah. In Mission Impossible... Great film, but let's not do spoilers because someone might go and watch this afterwards.
Right, okay, about spoilers.
But well acted all around. Strongly done. Just a great by the numbers, yet oddly compelling, engaging, well acted film.
Yeah,
good film.
Yeah.
Next,
Annihilation.
Great film in terms of abstract concepts. Well acted. I thought around the board from everybody involved.
Spooky and atmospheric.
Spooky and atmospheric. Great 70s sci-fi.
Free on Netflix, as it were. Well, let's pick a one from earlier in the year. Deadpool 2.
Rewatched very recently. This week.
The new one with Fred Savage?
No. Deadpool 2. Not Deadpool, a Christmas special.
Right.
Deadpool 2. Great film. Probably better than the first one.
Yeah.
I've come back to it and kind of really gotten down to it.
There's not a lot of meat in the first one.
It's a potato-less meal.
Yeah.
Get some meat, but no potatoes.
It's always bloody meat and potatoes with you, isn't it?
I'm a meat and potatoes guy, Michael. Don't judge me for that.
Yeah. Ben, a meat and potatoes guy is the 1990s way of saying a basic bitch.
Well, I'm a basic bitch.
Oh, that's nice. Ben, Ben. So Deadpool, pretty good. Not amazing. Incredibles 2 didn't float my boat the way Incredibles 1 did.
Me at all. Very anachronistic to have a villain called the Screenslaver. Screens were not widely used in the 60s.
Let's talk about maybe this might be one of our contenders.
Mm-hmm.
The Predator.
I gotcha. It was a conceit, a bamboozling.
It wasn't. It was crap.
Shite movie.
Yeah, it was no good
by all accounts.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of the real possible contenders, Ben. And this might be a controversial one because I don't think it is the film of the year, but a lot of people do think it is. It's the Black Panther.
No. I recently rewatched the Black Panther, and that film was definitely a victim of its own cultural significance.
I don't know if victim is the right word, but I agree with what you're saying.
Very obviously a milestone in terms of black culture, in terms of representation, in terms of even gender representation. I can never say the name of that bloody honor guard. Dora Milaje. Thank you very, very much. Fantastic concept, not conceit. Very nicely executed. Solid director who knows what he's doing, clearly, in terms of design, blocking, plot, etc.
Yeah.
Very by the numbers.
The plot.
Very by the numbers.
Yeah.
And I do believe, looking again at Chadwick Boseman, very stiff leading man.
We'll see. It remains to be seen on him.
Strong lack of charisma from that man.
But you don't necessarily need the Black Panther to be. I think that's one of the trickiest things they've always had with Black Panther in TV shows and cartoons. It's hard to make him interesting because he's a stoic...
Without being a coming to America style parody of what it is to be a ruler from Wakanda.
Exactly. So I think that what surrounding with interesting supporting characters saved the day.
I think that's why Killmonger stood out so much, though. By comparison with Chadwick Boseman, quite a charismatic, booming kind of character, in my experience.
No, look, there we go. Your experience. Anyway, yeah, they really surrounded him with interesting characters, and that's what you have to do with him. So I don't really begrudge them, Chadwick Boseman. He's always like in a pose.
Chadwick Boseman.
I don't begrudge him not being the most charismatic guy, but yeah, I think culturally, if we were doing a Mickey for most culturally significant, it would be Black Panther without
Black Panther by a landslide.
But that's not what we're doing.
No, I would not call it Film of the Year.
We're doing Film of the Year, Ben, and really, Ben, what we should have called it was Avengers Infinity War of the Year.
Yeah, we don't really get away from that film. In terms of the twist nobody saw coming, the secret sequel, etc., 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 culturally speaking, very significant.
I mean, Ben...
A nice curveball for Marvel fans around the world.
Even in terms of just being a goddamn good film.
Great film.
With so much baggage. How do you make a film with 40 characters?
It shouldn't have worked.
It shouldn't have worked, but it did. And not only did it work, Ben, it was a spectacular.
Yeah, it was a spectacle. It was as close to a big cinematic spectacle as you're going to get in this day and age. It's the Ben-Hur of 2018.
I think it's even more than that.
Oh, no, I think it's bigger than that because... As we've frequently mentioned,
go on,
Michael, superhero saturation is threatened quite often when one of these new films comes out. Mm-hmm. This came out and everybody loved it, Michael.
Everybody.
One
or two begrudgers.
Yeah, but, fuck the begrudgers. There's always going to be a begrudger. Josh Brolin, a long-time friend of the podcast, Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Great villain. Bloody great Thanos.
Well, then, one of the strengths of Infinity War was that it was a film about Thanos. He was the star. Really.
It's Thanos the movie.
Yeah.
We've said this before in the
podcast.
Time.
Great film. Ben, let's throw a couple of others in there. See, a late contender, Ben, is Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man screen adaptation in terms of honouring the character, the spirit, the theme of the comic book that I have seen in the cinema.
Go on.
It's bloody fucking great. What I mean by that is the original Sam Raimi things lost their way by...
They were odd anyway, really.
They were odd anyway, but it was always going to be odd with Raimi. Raimi was famous for the Evil Dead before that.
He's a weird dude.
He's a weird dude. Spider-Man 1, decent enough. Not the best Spider-Man I've ever seen because they took Willem Dafoe, who would have made a great Green Goblin without a helmet, and they stuck him in a helmet. They took a man who is traditionally very menacing in his expressions for a villain who traditionally just wears a menacing version of his own face. They stuck him in a helmet.
Did you see, we've looked at it before, the animatronic face that they were going to use, but they stopped using because it didn't work very well and it was too scary. That was amazing. That would have been great.
That would have been much better. Spider-Man 2, probably one of the better ones in terms of the things with Doc Ock. Alfred Molina does a great job. The Andrew Garfield ones we can forget about. They were not great films. Tom Holland does a great job. Don't like how dependent he is on Tony Stark.
I find it. I think it's a little bit. What I really like Homecoming. I think it's great.
Homecoming is a phenomenal film. I don't mean it like that.
It's lacking the nebbish dweeby Spider-Man.
He's not. He's a very together kind of guy. Yeah. On top of that, Spider-Man traditionally goes it alone. He is traditionally kind of the New York superhero that does his own thing. Into the Spider-Verse does this phenomenal job of portraying just how much weight is on Peter Parker's shoulders every single day. Chris Pine's Spider-Man is phenomenal in terms of being that paragon of Spider-Manishness. Jake Parker, what's his name?
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson does a great job of showing just how much of a toll that would take if you kept doing it every goddamn day. Never making the right decisions, never. But that's very Peter Parker. Like, the essence of Peter Parker is every time you try, something will go wrong.
But don't forget, the great thing about him was he was still a great Spider-Man.
He was still a great Spider-Man. It came back.
Terrible Peter Parker.
Yeah, he was in a bad spot.
But he was a brilliant Spider-Man.
It was a really nice nod to that entire universe. The core of what it is to be Spider-Man is there. Aunt May was great. She is the best Aunt May I have ever seen on screen.
She had a touch of the Sally Fields about her. She had a touch of the Incredibles about her as well.
Yeah, in a way. I suppose the Spider Cave was a jump too far. But I thought it was unreal. I bought the art book, as you know.
You put it on your sex rug.
On my sex rug, my very important sex rug. I'm so sorry to the people that have to spend time on that rug. Phenomenal book, a great way of looking. Visually speaking, just a stunning film.
Yeah, it was very good. It wasn't
great.
as good as Infinity War,
That's in my top 3 for the year.
Me too.
Yeah,
but it wasn't as good as Infinity War.
It wasn't as good as Infinity War.
I watched Searching the other day, Ben. I thoroughly recommend it.
Which one is
It's not
Searching?
really- it's about a dad trying to track down his daughter who goes missing, but it's only seen through screens.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen half of that film.
It's very good.
Very good. Very good.
Lots of twists and turns. It's very
Lots of
interesting.
twists and turns.
But Ben, look, we always knew it was going to be Infinity War, so it's Infinity War.
Any honourable mentions before we move on? Searching, obviously. And then...
I liked Searching. I really enjoyed Mission Impossible Fallout. It was probably my second favourite film of the year.
Mission Impossible Fallout was very good.
I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp was fine, but it wouldn't have been up there, up the top. I very much enjoyed Black Panther. Jurassic World was terrible. Aquaman was surprisingly good, but only about as good as Ant-Man and the Wasp.
One that you and I were big fans of, I want to throw into the list, Upgrade. Upgrade was a great little film that
I was
we got
going
to
to
watch
save
this
that
year.
for a kind of surprise hit of the year, but Upgrade was fantastic.
Upgrade was great. The movie that Venom wanted to be.
The movie that If Only Venom had been.
Yeah, if only. If only. It would have been great. Anyway, moving on from there, Michael, on to comic books.
Comic book. Best comic book of the year, Ben.
Best comic book of
This
the
is
year.
usually your department more than mine.
Well, you have the comic book roundup every week, Michael, which I hope to return to in terms of tropes and analysing them.
Here's what I've enjoyed this year, Ben. I have thoroughly enjoyed The Immortal Hulk, but not consistently. I've really grown to enjoy Die, 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 and The Magic Order.
The Magic Order. You and the Magic Order.
The Magic Order turned me around, Ben.
Just ran off with each other. You had a great old time.
You turned me around. Your sex rug was soiled by me and the Magic Order.
Well, yeah, I wish I really hadn't invited you around to dinner. That was really strange. But
Go on.
But
yes,
we had the new Avengers run. Meh.
Yeah, I have to take or leave that, to be honest.
Poor, to be honest. The new Justice League run, which I still think is phenomenal. Scott Snyder and Jorge Jimenez. And of course, industry legend whose name escapes me, Jim Chung. Thank you. Didn't escape me for too long. Die, Die, Die. I never got around to reading, sadly.
Look, it's not comic of the year. It has grown on me, not as quickly as the Magic Order, and I couldn't recommend it in good faith.
In good faith, fair enough. The Immortal Hulk is very close to being my top comic of the year. When it's good, it's brilliant. When it's superhero schlock, leave it on the shelf.
Look, it is. I wish it was I almost wish it was an out of continuity, just retelling of the Hulk, because that would be amazing. But so much of it needs to throw back to Hulk villains like the Absorbent Man and what's his name? Sasquatch.
Yeah, he's the Sasquatch. That's his name.
Yeah, so it needs to throw back to them to work, but then again, you have to bring in the other character. It's so close to this.
So there's editorial pushing and shoving going on there. We threw this out to our Instagram fan base, and Beasts of Burden was mentioned. You read some of Beasts of Burden?
Yes, that's true. Beasts of Burden is a strange one. I have stopped reading it. I've kind of forgotten to pick it up a couple of weeks in a row. But it was good. It's enjoyable. It's fun.
Doesn't mean anything.
It's English dogs in the countryside solving mysteries.
Why not?
If you like Supernatural and you like dogs, then
Game ball.
Then you'll like Beasts of Burden.
I I've been doing a lot of Batman reading this year, as you know. Batman Damned turned out to be a bit of a meh.
Yeah, his Willy was in it, though.
Yeah, his Willy was in it, but...
He got his own Mickey.
Yeah, he has his own Mickey. He doesn't need ours. Although apparently giving size ratings, he does need ours. He could use a little addition, little more stuffing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I don't have any I can spare.
It's fair enough. I think that's true for everyone in the tiny room. But generally speaking, bit of a damp squib on that end of things. Not a great thing.
2 things wrapped up this year, Ben. Transformers: The Lost Light, which was for a long time was one of my favorite comics, and I wasn't too sad to see it go, which is a terrible thing to say about something I've been reading for 7 or 8 years. Did Invincible finish this year?
Invincible did finish this year.
Well, then Invincible's very solid ending wins Comic Book of the Year from me.
Oh wow, okay, that was so easy. There were other ones like The Weatherman for me, but for me,
The Weatherman a Stormwatch thing? Is it Henry Bendix?
No, The Weatherman is an Image comic that's a space opera, basically. Very good space opera though. Very good space opera. I recommend it. It's an Image comic space opera.
The Weatherman. I'll put
The Weatherman. You should check that out. That was a really, really good one. I didn't pick it up in a physical copy. I paid for it and read it beguilingly online. Doom Patrol was a good addition for us, I think. I really enjoyed Doom Patrol I was going through, and I think the spirit of Doom Patrol is really what set me up for the new Justice League run. For me, my comic book of the year is Justice League because it's still a fantastic throwback.
Justice League?
Still a fantastic throwback to those wacky 70s comics. They've even gone back to it in how they sell the cover every week, where they have like a really melodramatic cover with like a big caption like the end of Wonder Woman, and they have like Cheetah's heel into the back of her and stuff like that. It's an amazing comic. It's doing a good run. Zack Snyder he's really doing some excellent work with it, and Jorge Jimenez still has the best art for superhero comics that I've ever seen. It's really well adapted. So for me, it's Justice League, and for you, it's the end of Invincible. 2 comics which really speak to the purity of what superhero comic books in particular, can do. So I think it's a suitable choice from both.
Did the new Sandman tickle your Mickeys in any way? It
lost me. I kept up with it. I'm up to date on the Dreaming. Lucifer is interesting here and there. The one with the New Orleans gods is very sloppily drawn. It doesn't appeal to me from a visual point of view, and it's quite convoluted, so it doesn't appeal to me from a storytelling point of view. What was the other one in those? There was the Dreaming, New Orleans, Lucifer. Can't remember. Anyway, didn't hold my fancy. It lacks some of the pizzazz of the original for me.
Let's do, Ben, another topic. Let's do disappointment of the year.
In terms of?
Anything.
Venom, massive disappointment for me.
Was a disappointment though, because we never thought it was going to be good. What disappoints me about Venom is how much goddamn money it's made.
I think that's... I don't know what caused that.
International markets, special effects, Tom Hardy.
Venom is a very popular character. I don't think we took that into account.
Yeah.
He is Edgelord #1 pick. #1 draft pick for the Edgelord. Great character in his own right. Tom Hardy wasn't great in that film.
But Tom Hardy's a big name.
He's a big name. He's a big draw. But also, no. Just didn't do it for me. I don't know why.
It's going to get sequels. It's going to get spin-offs.
Very 90s. V90s.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing for me was Sony know how to do a Spider-Man film.
No, they don't.
But it has to be animated.
Oh, yeah, they do. That's
the weird thing for me.
I don't know how they made Into the Spider-Verse. It just came so out of nowhere.
Someone else had a huge hand in that. Yeah. I don't know, because it's not even following the traditional Sony formula. They weren't building a world. They just dumped you in the middle of the world 3 or 4 times. And it worked so well. I love that weird giant hybrid of traditional Green Goblin and Ultimate Green Goblin. He was a fantastic little mini shot.
Yeah.
Kingpin was oddly entertaining in his huge chunky form. I just love that film.
He's talking about Spider-Verse again.
Yeah,
we're talking about disappointment of the year.
Disappointment of the year. In terms of, I have 3 for each category. In terms of films, Venom. In terms of TV shows, the new Doctor Who. I really hoped that Jodie Whittaker would do some fantastic work with the new Doctor as the first female Doctor. The showrunner is a very bad writer for Doctor Who. He has written some of the greatest flops in history.
Go on.
And I don't know why they chose him to be the showrunner. Maybe because he had the most experience on the set.
What did he write?
He wrote some of the Dalek episodes where he mixed up the lore and kind of broke the rules.
No.
He's the guy. When Doctor Who breaks its own rules and continuity,
It's him.
Oh
no!
Because he thinks the Doctor is a god.
Oh.
He's the one that always pushes the element of the lonely god and stuff like that. And that's not who the Doctor has to be, but it is with him. He is also friends with Jodie Whittaker, and he's the reason Jodie Whittaker signed on. So I think the BBC took the choice to have a female Doctor to be progressive. Not that that's a bad thing. I don't mean that at all.
You do, though.
I don't. I actually don't in this case. I'm quite a fan of Jodie Whittaker and her acting. I think she's a wonderful choice. Some of the episodes are brilliant. For the most part, they don't land properly. Now, both of those people are looking to quit. Jodie Whittaker wants out, and so does the showrunner. Mainly from the backlash from the fans. They can't handle the backlash. So rather than commit to it, Jodie Whittaker is saying that she wants to spend time with her family. Which is fine. But why did you sign on
to be Doctor Who
if that's what you wanted to do? She knew how intense it was. She knew how intense the schedule was. She knew what the fan base was like.
Is it that intense, though? I mean, it's an English show. It only has a couple of episodes a year.
Doctor Who's a little bit different, I think, though. It's a big production. Okay. So I think there's a lot of shoots and reshoots. So that, for me, was a big one. And then, in terms of comics, anything that Tom King has written for Batman.
Oh, my friend Tom King.
No, not your friend Tom King. I've gone over Tom King's stuff, and I want to like Tom King. His concepts and his initial storylines are supposed to be great. Mm-hmm. He just fucks up characters. He seems to enjoy being irreverent with characters. Not that irreverency is out of place in comic books. Anyone can fuck around with characters and have a little thing here, but you should redeem those characters. He makes the Justice League seem like petty little bitches. It's like Mean Girls with capes.
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and that would be fair enough. But anyway, you get my idea. So anything Tom King has written, Heroes in Crisis continues to disappoint me at the minute. The art is gorgeous. I recommend you check it out for the art alone. But just doesn't hold my attention. Michael, what about you? Any disappointments?
I was very disappointed by The Predator, but didn't have very high hopes for it.
Predator. Featuring an actual predator.
Yeah, very disappointed that Shane Black cast a sexual predator in that.
Very disappointed that her entire cast turned to Olivia Munn, who seemed to...
I don't know if they did. There's a bit of
there's a bit of humming and hawing here.
There's a bit of a difference between turning on someone and immediately wholeheartedly supporting them when you don't know the full facts.
Fair.
You know what I mean? I don't think that necessarily the people who didn't immediately jump to her aid were bad people. They just might have been waiting to see what truth would come out of the situation before they...
Fair enough.
Before they left to...
Here's hoping Olivia Munn still has a career next year.
She seems to. She seems to be doing all right.
She's doing okay.
Yeah, she's doing all right. The Marvel things... The Marvel Netflix could be the disappointment of the past 5 years. That's just coalesced into something great.
Yeah, it started so well.
I mean, we had high hopes. Jessica Jones and Daredevil, we really had high hopes for that. Their Defenders could have been the Avengers of TV.
Punisher is great.
Punisher's pretty good.
Still looking forward to Punisher season 2. Hopefully it comes out.
Yeah, they were my disappointments of the year, to be honest.
It's a bit grim.
Yeah.
To wrap this up, Michael, that's really. We always have, of course, our final section. But I would like to shout out. We did put this out to Reddit and we did put this out to Instagram, and we got some amazing recommendations. I have checked out the trailer. In terms of movies, one of the things that we recommended was Prospect, which is like a sci-fi western frontier starring Pedro Pascal.
Okay.
Kind of an independent thing. It has one of the Duplass brothers directing it. It's really, really good. It looks really good. I haven't seen it. But it's basically about two people that are thrown together while they're trying to mine a planet for resources. So it is very much a western frontier in space.
I like the sound of that.
That looks very good. Possum is one that you might enjoy. Independent horror, kind of a horror fairy tale thing about a serial killer who has to deal with an otherworldly entity, and very, very gripping horror stuff. And then Damsel is another one. You and a friend of the podcast and general usurper of my throne, Shane, had an episode all about westerns, and one that we have completely missed that has passed me by is Damsel, starring Mr. Robert Pattinson and Miss Mia Wachowski. Very, very good. Very, very good. Reminiscent of the Coen brothers at their peak. In terms of comic books, it was a little bit harder. One that I thoroughly recommend that we didn't really put on the list is Mr. Miracle. Very good run of meta comic book stuff. One that you will really enjoy that a Redditor threw out to us was Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy has been launched.
Dick Tracy.
But illustrated by fans of you, and you are fans of them, the Allard couple.
That was terribly expressed.
Mike Allred.
Yes.
Allred and his wife, whose name escapes me.
Laura
Allred, thank you very much, are writing and illustrating Dick Tracy for 2018.
I would like to see that.
I had a flick through it before coming over. Very, very good. Another one that many people chimed in on and thoroughly recommended was one for you, which is a cosmic horror called A Walk Through Hell and Fearscape.
I like the sound of that. What's
that? It is an anthology series with a through line story running through the whole thing to connect them.
I know what a through line means.
Sorry, fair enough. It was for the listeners, as usual. So Walk Through Fear is that. I'm not going to spoil anything else from that big cosmic horror thing. So a massive thank you to anyone on Instagram and Reddit who gave us a little help in that direction and sent us in the right directions. As always, we finish with our last two categories, Michael, as is the tradition in our long-standing Mickey's Awards.
Go on.
Best and worst egg of the year.
Worst egg of the year, I suppose, has to be the guy from Predator.
I don't think that's true.
Let's say shit. No, the pedophile guy.
Well, yeah, it's one of your famous conceits where, just morally speaking, he's just
a bad egg.
Terrible human being.
I don't really.
The guy who decided to cancel fucking Netflix.
I don't know if that was like Perlmutter, Jeff Loeb.
Well, it was a dickhead either way.
Look, it's always like Perlmutter. He's our bad egg of the...
He's our bad egg of the year. Anybody else?
No, look, it has been a relatively good year. It wasn't 2017 for people turning out to be real pricks.
Real pricks. We didn't have any Weinsteins.
No, we had Kip Perdue.
Who's that?
He's in Runaways, Marvel's Runaways, and in the sex scene in the 90s, he made a woman touch his penis.
Oh.
Yeah, so, I mean...
Well, that's not great, is it?
It's not great, but
hardly
also,
bad egg of the year territory, though.
If it's the worst thing that happened this year, it's
that's a good year.
A good year.
Yeah. Best egg?
I don't know. Me?
Yeah, sure. Mick is our best egg of this year. That's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to contend any of the categories that were chosen, you can't, because it's our award show and we get to decide.
It's over.
Yeah. If you think we missed anything and you would like to get it out there, please comment. On our Instagram, on YouTube, on iTunes. If you're commenting on iTunes, just let everybody know that this was the best podcast of 2018 for you. You absolutely loved it. That can be a Christmas gift to Michael and I. You can go and give us an L review on the iTunes.
Unless you're someone who would traditionally buy us a Christmas gift, then continue buying us a Christmas gift.
Yeah, then keep buying us presents. That was not a mum and dad. that wasn't a get out of Christmas. Anyway.
All right, let's wrap it up there.
Anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Christmas to you and yours. You are probably listening to this on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
if it goes out on time.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, enjoy it with all your family on Christmas Day. Thanks for listening.
All
right, everyone. Happy Christmas, everybody. Bye.
In 2019. Bye.